marketing department here at Art Storefronts. Been doing that for going on 6 or 7 years now. Agenda for the call today is, inevitably there's going to be people on this call that know who we are, seen what we do, have a vague idea what we do. Many of you are like, I have no idea what these people do. How can they help me? And then everything in between. So we've got sort of like a good little intro video that explains everything that we do. Yes, the software, yes, the marketing, the support, all of it stitched into one that I find does a good job at explaining, at least a better job than nothing. It explained, it's not a bad video. So that'll run up front. And then on the tail end, the best part of these calls is we'll get into the Q&A. And in the Q&A section, it's about, I should say as my disclaimer, I run 3 of these a week. Been doing that for like a year and a half. We have 5,000 customers, many of which we'll put into Zoom calls during the week. I don't think there's another human being alive that talks to more artists and photographers on a week in, week out basis than me. I've been doing digital marketing in this industry for a long time, understand the nuances of how art and photography is sold online, offline, live video, everything in between. In addition to that, we have 5,000 customers and I get to look intimately at their data. So the ones that are doing extremely well, I get to see what traffic sources they're working, what is creating that income for them, how are they doing so well. So I have a very good idea of what's working, especially, in sort of the pandemic times that we're emerged in. So whether you guys decide to ever become a customer or not, we don't care. We want to just provide value on this session, and the Q&A is where that happens. Are you just getting started? Are you wondering how to negotiate a gallery relationship, whether or not you can continue to sell direct? Are you having issues with niche selection? Are you wondering how to handle limited edition prints and signing them? Do you want to do SEO? Do you have some other marketing source you're curious about? What about live art shows? Literally, it's the best part of these calls. And I'll get aggressive and come after questions if you guys don't do it. I'm not afraid to poke and prod, but I think the biggest value in these sessions is hearing from other artists, other photographers that are at a particular stage in their career. What are they settling? What are they struggling with? And what do they think they need to get their business to take the next step? So after this intro video, I'll come back on and I'll explain how we do the question process and get you in the queue and all of that. So April, why don't you start the video, and I will see you guys in just a few moments. This is the homepage I'm talking about that we just recently redid, and I think it does a really good job articulating sort of who we are, what we do at a very high level. And if you scroll down the page, there's a bunch of videos and me explaining a whole bunch of things, everything that we do from top to bottom. But our tagline, which states everything that you need to start, run, and grow a successful art business, really does sum up what we do. We get pigeonholed as they're a website company. They're a website company. And yes, we do offer websites, but it is a tiny, tiny portion of what we do. Ultimately, we learned a couple of years ago, the hard way, by the way, if we are going to grow and be successful as a business, Art Storefronts, that is 100% dependent, surprise this one, but on how successful our customers are, on how much art and photography our customers are selling on a yearly basis. And so when you look at that as the problem that we're solving, it becomes so much more than a website, because a website is not enough. But still, we're going to talk about the website. I'm going to get into the other layers as we go down. So it does indeed all start with the website. I will pull one up because it'll make it more interactive. And, anyone that's been attempting to sell art or photography for any period of time, I'll use Bono today, they know one thing conclusively: selling art in an e-commerce capacity digitally online is not like selling other items. It's not like selling swim fins or ladies' handbags or electric scooters or bicycles or anything else, right? Buying art, okay, and buying art online is A, an extremely visual process, and B, an extremely friction-filled process. And what do I mean by friction? I mean, friction is all of the various different things, okay, that will prevent a visitor to your website from turning into a buyer, okay? And so really, everything that we do with our software is attempt to solve for this friction, okay? To solve for the friction, to solve for how important the visual aspects are towards selling art and photography online. And, it's never any one feature. It's all of the features working together. It can be little things like when you select a media type, which is canvas, it changes to a canvas, a gallery wrapped canvas. Most people don't even know what a canvas is. And so we've
developed special videos that show the differences, the nuances in the real world, what an actual canvas print looks like, what's going to show up at their house, what are the high points of this one, is canvas different than metal. Oops, I missed a click on that. And so you can see what a metal print looks like and how it's sitting flat, eventually how it's hanging up, all the nuances, the intricacies, because it is such a visual process buying art. We have a feature called the wall preview, which allows you to cycle through various different room types. Again, such a visual process buying art. Not only can you circle through the different room types, and yes, you can add your own room type images in. We use some generic ones by design, and you can size pieces up and down, see what it's going to look like. Do I need a 36 by 49? Is that too big? Do I instead want a 28 by 38? We're making it easier for your potential customer to get to a buying decision. What if they want to, their walls aren't white, right? What if they're this ugly color? Or there's something a little bit darker? Is the piece going to look good with this color, right? Because again, buying art is just such an incredibly visual process. Another feature that everybody likes to talk about that we get a lot of plaudits for is
Here we are
we have
on
this feature.
Artist and Art
Excuse me, mute that. Called Live Preview with AR. Okay, and what this is this allows somebody to come to your website with their telephone, can be iPhone or Android. You can see the phones here on the right hand side, and without downloading any apps, they can just use their phone, their camera, and press one button on your website that says Live Preview. And what this is going to do, it's going to take the camera on their phone, okay, which is going to show the real room, the real wall, where the art will potentially go. And then it takes your piece in augmented reality and it projects it onto the wall. And you're able to move it around with your finger. You're able to size it up, size it down, take screenshots. And so, is it going to look great in the room? What size do I need to get, right? And so, again, this is attempting to solve for the visual friction of, I don't know if it's going to work in my room. I don't know what it's going to look like, right? It's just getting them one step closer to a buying decision, removing the friction from the process. And, you know, I've been doing e-commerce marketing, digital marketing my entire life. Everyone loves to gravitate towards the wall preview or the live preview with AR. But the reality is when you do this for any period of time, it's not about one individual feature. It's about all the features working in conjunction, and you never know which one's going to end up. If we think of a sports analogy like a basketball team, it's how many players you have on the court that can contribute, right, to eventually scoring that basket. And so it's why we do the demo process. We have literally hundreds and hundreds of features, all to remove the friction, all to help you get better at selling art and photography online. And when you request one of these things, our outreach team will reach out, have a conversation with you, and schedule it. It goes like an hour and 10 minutes, and we just go through feature after feature after feature. So it's not about any one of them; it's about all of them working in conjunction. Independent of that, let's keep working down the page. So we also have a ton of back-end software. It turns out running an art business, art photography business, there's a ton of individual little nuance and things that can slow you down. Okay, things like uploading an image and how many images do you have to upload to your web page for all the various different media sizes and types you have. It's very helpful to be able to just upload one, have all the sizes auto-populate for you, and tell you exactly what you can sell. Things like markups. How do you set markups? Can you do it globally? Can you do it per media type, right? And so no one likes to talk about the back end features, but we have a slew of those as well, all there to make your life easier, to give you time back. Okay. Um, let's talk about our fulfillment. And we love talking about this. This is in our company DNA pretty significantly, but I'll pull up a website. So we're on Bill Stidham's site. Or I should probably start here actually. So we are integrated. Well, let me start here. You can have it any which way you like. If you're an artist that just does originals and you get orders, obviously you're going to be responsible for fulfilling the originals because you have them. If you're an artist that has a local printer or a photographer that has a local printer, you really like using your printer, you can use your printer. The orders come in, you send the order to your printer. We call that self-fulfillment, no problem. What we recommend our customers do, though, is integrate with one of our print partners, and I'll get into the reasons why. But we've got Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast, we've got Bay Photo on the West Coast, we've got Print Partner for our customers in Canada, and then we just recently integrated with a company called Guten that handles the merchandise, and I'll get into that in a second. How does it work? You sign up, you get your site set up, which usually takes 14 days or less. You click a button that says, I want to integrate with this print partner. An order comes into the website. The printer gets paid. You get paid. The order gets printed. The order gets boxed. Your logo goes on the side of the box. Boom, it ships to the customer. You touch absolutely nothing. There's nothing you have to touch, nothing you have to do. All happens automatically. And again, it's to give you back that amount of time. And, you know, no one has time in today's day and age to be dealing with the admin. Okay. Any time that you spend on the admin, by which I mean sending the order to your local printer, uh, uh, checking on the proof, sending tracking numbers, did it ship, any of that correspondence, all of that, if you're spending your time on that, is time you are not spending on your biggest problem, which is your marketing. So we really believe like streamlining sort of this drop shipping, print on demand, automated fulfillment is a very, very wise decision if you want to create successful artists and photographers. Now, just recently, this was probably what, like a month before Christmas, maybe, we integrated with a company called Guten. And what it allows our customers to do is sell merchandise of a myriad of different kinds. Hoodies, iPhone cases, tank tops. They can come in, adjust the image exactly how they want to see it. Maybe they want to tilt it depending on what case it is, and get iPhone cases and a number of different other items. Um, we've got throw pillows and I clicked out of it, and coffee mugs, and we're adding more and more and more and more of these. And on the subject of merch, we realize again, if you go back to our original mission, why we exist, we need to create a set of circumstances, a set of conditions such that the artist, the photographer can make and grow as successful a business as they want. And so some artists look at this merch and they're like, they turn their noses up at it and like, that's not fine art. Why would I ever want to do that? Some are like, I'm all in, I love it. We don't care. Our job is to provide as many different opportunities for artists and photographers to be successful as possible. And we've been totally blown away by how much of this stuff actually, believe it or not, sells. And some of it is higher margin than you would think. Like a throw pillow is $44, and what does a tote bag cost? I think a tote bag costs $38. So, sell it or not, you have every opportunity imaginable available to you. If you want to have it all, in kind of like Bill does here on his site, where you have your fine art media types across the top, and then you have the merch all in one product page. Great. If you want to have individual items in the store, you want to have your artwork, fine, and then you just want to have a line of phone cases. If you want to have one for a couple of weeks and then turn it off, you can do any and all of that, and it's one click to turn it on at any point in time. It's automated. It's completely automated in terms of fulfillment, and that's not going to change. And we realize again, like artists and photographers are essentially just creators, right? You're just creators, and you have a talent. You have a talent with a brush, or you have a talent with the lens. You want to monetize that talent, okay? So again, our job is to give you as many different opportunities to be able to monetize that talent as possible. So that's how we go about it. And again, it's a debate about when to use it or when not. But somebody on one of these sessions earlier was like, who's the greatest rock band of all time? I was like, no, who? He's like, the Rolling Stones. He goes, guess what the Rolling Stones have at their concerts? I said, what? A giant booth for merch. He's like, they sell hundreds of thousands of dollars of it a year. If the Stones sell it, I'll sell it. So anyway, I thought that kind of stuck with me. It was fun. So that's our print fulfillment. And I should say too that we're adding calendars and we're adding puzzles and we are adding photo books. And to be honest with you, if they come out with a line of hot air balloons, we'll add hot air balloons too, right? Because again, it's creating a set of circumstances such that the artist and photographer can be successful. We don't care where the success comes from. I don't care if Brian gets into business and he's the number one iPhone selling case guy of the entire United States. He's got a successful business, right? So not for us to decide. Support. We believe we have best in class support. If you took a look at our Facebook ads and you scrolled through the 350 of them, you'll see more positive responses for the support than just about anything else. We're very, very good at this. Yes, it's in all the venues you think it is, email, phone, chat support. But in addition to that, kind of what I'm most proud about is we run 6 days a week, including Saturdays, Zoom sessions, just like the one you're on right now. Okay. And you can pop into one at any point in time with any support related issue and get fixed, get unstuck. There's screen shares. They can take over control of your computer and just get you sorted instantaneously. So we're very, very good at it. Not only do we support our application, we ask you guys, we teach you guys marketing all year long, and which I'll get into in a second. What if you're having a problem with Facebook or with Instagram or with MailChimp or with your Facebook ads? We actually support that too. You can pop into a Zoom session and say, hey, Patrick, I'm stuck on my Facebook ads. I'm getting this message. Can you help me? And our team will get you unstuck. That's an amazing thing. There's not many companies that do that. So I'm very, very proud about that. That's in terms of the overall website picture. And we essentially do all of that, okay, to give you your time back such that you can work on the biggest problem that every single solitary person on this Zoom call has, which is their marketing problem. You need to get better at it. And let me tell you, I've got 4,700 customers, and there's only one universal truth about every one of them, right? Every niche imaginable, every subject matter, all over this country and others. Every one of them has a marketing problem. The person that just passed $500,000 a year in sales has a marketing problem. They want to grow that business, they have a marketing problem. The person that just is getting started, sold their first piece, they have a marketing problem, and everybody in between, right? It is the biggest problem. And so, we want to create successful customers. We realize we need to teach artists and photographers how to market. And so how did we solve for that particular problem? We created collectively what might as well be called the Art Business University. That's how we look at it, because I'm not sure there's a better term to explain it. One, we have the best digital education that exists in terms of selling art and photography online, full stop. I'm hang my hat on this. We have detailed documentation that we call playbooks on every marketing facet imaginable. How to run an email campaign, how to run a Black Friday sale, how to go live on Instagram, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time with your laptop on a cell phone. Detailed, step-by-step, audio, video, screenshot documentation. If we're asking you to send emails, we will give you the email copy. You just adjust it to taste for what you're doing. So the playbooks are incredible. They're very robust, and they're very focused on teaching you how to market. We pair that with a 365-day-a-year marketing calendar, okay? It has on it beginner, intermediate, and advanced. You take on what you can take on. You're never not knowing what you need to be doing on a week in, week out basis. You start doing, first, you're overwhelmed. You're like, I've never done this. This is crazy. How am I going to survive? And then you fight through it, and you got through the beginner level, and then you take on the intermediate, and then you take on the advanced. The majority of our customers follow this doggone near verbatim year in, year out, because it works. It's effective. Not only does it tell you what to do, but it solves for one of the other greatest pandemic of our lifetime, the shiny object syndrome, okay? Not only does the calendar tell you what to do, it tells you what not to do, okay? What not to be spending your time on, right? And how do I know this? One, I'm very good at digital marketing. Two, we have 4,700 customers, and I get to see all of their data. I can tell everyone on this call conclusively, out of the 4,700 customers that I have not seen anyone turn a positive ROI out of marketing on Pinterest. No one is making any money from marketing on Pinterest. So I'm going to tell you, you don't have to worry about Pinterest. I see you laughing, Mary. I do not want you spending any time on Pinterest, period. Waste of time. So too with SEO, okay? So the calendar is equally powerful on what you need to focus on is what you ignore, okay? Is what you ignore, and that's a big deal. Number 3 of the Art Business University is what we call office hours, okay? We take the entire customer base, we split it into 3. Until you sell $2,000 directly on your website, you're in the traction group. And after you sold $2,000 on your website, you're in the ramping group. After you sold a much higher revenue threshold that we don't publish, you get in the advanced group, which we call growth. We hold week in, week out, every single solitary week, and we took 1 week off for New Year's, but essentially 48, 49 weeks a year. Zoom calls like this. You come on a weekly basis. It's either me or members of my team. We go over the playbooks, we go over the calendars, we talk about wins, how somebody landed an interior decorator and sold $35,000 worth. They're going to come on and tell their story. Not only are they going to come on and tell their story, they're going to say, here's the email that did it, here's the copy, here's the Facebook post, and you can go and look at that stuff, right? And you're learning in concert with your peers. Digital online education is not enough, okay? If you look at the stats out there, I don't care who it is, Kajabi or Masterclass or lynda.com, 30% of the people that buy those courses actually finish them. So we can't just have digital education. We have to have in-person teaching sessions, and everyone knows how to Zoom now. It's our new reality. So those sessions, which we started like, I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of the pandemic, have been the single solitary biggest fundamental change to our business we've ever had. If before the pandemic, I had 100 customers, and I told those 100 customers via email, guys, Black Friday's coming. You got to get going on your sale. Here's the playbook, right? And then I recorded a podcast episode, and I was like, we're going to do this. 35 out of the 100 would take action. After these video sessions where I'm able to go through things, people are able to ask their questions, raise their hands, get unstuck, learn your peers. I have 75 people taking action on that sale, and it's fundamentally changing the business. It is making our customers more successful, more accountable, actually staying focused. Like, look, you guys are all solopreneurs for the most part. I mean, we could pull this entire group, and not a lot of you guys have a big team. You don't have an office behind you where you're yelling at an intern to help you out. You are a solopreneur, okay? Myself, the CEO, we've been entrepreneurs our entire life. I know it's a roller coaster. I know there's highs and the lows. When you're on those lows, you need a kick in the pants, right? You need to be lifted up sometimes. And that's what these Zoom sessions do too, which is incredible. We follow it up with a Facebook group that is highly curated. Okay. There's no trolls. There's no nonsense in there, right? You've seen some of the other groups out there online and how ridiculous it gets in those things. And artists are sharing with other artists, photographers are sharing with other photographers, the people that are in the landscape niche are talking to others in the landscape niche. Hey guys, what do you think of this new direction? What did you use in terms of pricing? They're publishing their wins. And so sometimes you can't just hear it from us, the official company mouthpiece. And so it's nice to have a whole bunch of people that are doing this same journey at the same time, helping each other out, sharing, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? So that collectively is the Art Business University. And it's like a college. It really is. And the difference is you pay your tuition, you come in, and there's no graduates because the learning never stops, right? And, in addition to that, it never will stop. In today's digital marketing landscape, the goalposts are just constantly moving, right? Like so quickly, you feel like you just learned something and it moves over here. So we keep you up to date with all of that. As a final, about 6 months ago, or maybe 5 months ago now, we started an in-house marketing agency. And it's an in-house marketing agency that only does one thing. It helps artists and photographers sell more art online and off. And we believe already, as of today's date, it's the biggest sole-focused art and photography marketing agency in the world. And that's not hyperbole. I've been asking on these calls, can someone name me an agency that specializes only in helping artists and photographers sell their work? I haven't found one. No one's ever put one in the chat for me, especially not a big one. Why? Because my aforementioned point, selling art and photography is not like selling swim thins or ladies' handbags or scooters. It's hard, right? It's really hard. And we're good at it because we've been working at it for a long time. Also, I get upset, right? Because I look at all of you guys as like, you own a McDonald's, right? And if you owned a McDonald's, you have to know how to do the ordering. You have to know how to clean the floors. You have to know how to open the building. You have to know how to operate the drive-through window. You have to be able to flip burgers and fries and do all of that and do the ordering, right? Like it's your business. You need to understand those things. But at the same time, I'm not naive in the sense that 80% of our customers still have full-time jobs or in some capacity. Maybe they're service-based photographers and they're trying to sell their fine art. So I get it. You need to be able to have the ability, if you don't have the time to do the marketing and you have the resources, you need a la carte things that you can jump off the shelf. Hey guys, I need my Instagram profile tuned up. I need my Facebook page tuned up. I need to help with a sales campaign. You need to be able to do that sometimes. In addition to things like, we'll completely build your website for you. You don't want to do that. You hate building websites. Your fears in life, in order, are death, taxes, and building another website. I get that, right? So you can drop your images in a folder, tell us to build the site, we'll build the site for you, okay? We'll manage your Facebook ads, okay? We will manage all of your social posting. And again, it goes back to the top premise. Like, our job is to create successful customers. And so we looked at it 6 months ago and it's like, we need to have an agency. And then some people are like, well, I want to do it myself. Fantastic. Our job is to have the best DIY product, do it yourself, learn, come on the sessions, and then also have an agency where you can pay. And again, it's a la carte or it's, up to almost full service. And the amazing thing about it is, I've been doing marketing a long time, right? What do all marketers love? A case study. Oh, we love a case study, right? With the sexy data about this huge win, and we publish it on social media and we use it for lead generation. So totally did that all the time. Okay. Guilty, and if you lose, you don't publish it, right? You wait till you hit a winner and do all that. But it used to be, I would go and run a case study with a customer and, I'd have limited bandwidth to do that. And then we would build the playbooks. Well, guess what I have now? I've got agency staff. I've got one guy that all he does all day long is spruce up Instagram pages for artists and photographers. He did 65 of them last week, or probably 65 last month. So imagine the learnings that we're getting. What happens is the learnings are going right back into the playbooks, and then they're coming onto the Zoom sessions and they're teaching, and we've got a little flywheel going on, right? We've got a little artist and photographer education flywheel. So it doesn't matter if you ever order a single solitary service from the agency, and we don't even care if the agency ever makes any money, in all honesty, because all it does is just improves the product, makes more successful customers, and helps us grow. So we really, at the end of the day, are fundamentally a business that can be thought of as a rowboat, right? It takes our oar, your oar, we jump in the boat in the same time, and if we can get that thing rowing in the same direction, the faster we can get that going, the better everybody does. So that's Art Storefronts in a nutshell. That's my presentation.
All right, thanks for playing that, April. So one of the things that we do is inevitably we'll end up mentioning a bunch of links as we kind of go along on the show today. But I talked about this earlier. I'm going to send you guys all this. It's totally worth a scan. So it's called the Art Market 2021. It's by Art Basel and UBS. Also on the website, they have this like key findings, which are like some of the stats at a high level if you don't want to nerd out on the report. But you know, I love these reports because we don't have that many of them in this particular industry, period, right? And April, you can put the link in the chat, but like the topics on this thing are awesome. The global art market in 2020, dealer sales, auction sales, art fairs, online sales, global wealth collector perspectives, economic impact, and on and on and on. What was so fascinating about this is like, you know, a lot of it is like, okay, yeah, thanks, Captain Obvious. Like, you know, online art sales are continuing to go up more and more and more, but as I read through it, what was so fascinating is everyone's realizing that the pandemic has forever changed how art and photography are going to be sold. Everyone thinks that change is, oh my gosh, it's all going to go online with the website. That's number one. Number two, no one has these new formats figured out yet in the slightest, not the very top art market, not us, but everyone's trying to figure it out combined. The future of selling art and photography, surprise, surprise, is going to be in person, face to face, whenever you can, because that is the most effective way to do it. It is going to be on your website the rest of the time because you need to sleep. You're geographically fixed in a place on this earth, and you can't have 15 conversations at once. And then the whole concept of the live show, the basement sale, the one-on-one private art consultation. They have some fancier buzzwords if you like want to go to the auction house and arrange a private showing. But that's the next biggest piece. But at the end of the day, regardless of how you feel about what particular way is the best way to sell art or what you need to do, everyone is fighting the same fight, and it's all for attention. It's us in this business. It's every single solitary one of you on this call. It's Google, it's Facebook. We are all at war for attention. That is the entire ballgame. When information is at levels of abundance that it's never been in the history of mankind, attention is the scarce resource. Everything that I took away from that report is the same battle that we are having at Art Storefronts to grow our business, that every one of you on this call is to trying to sell more art, is the exact same thing that Christie's and Art Basel and any of the rest of them are fighting, which is that you just need the attention. You need the eyeballs actually looking at your art, whether you're going to sell to them in person, whether you're going to sell to them on the website, whether you're going to sell to them in a Zoom call like this, one-to-one, is utterly, totally, and completely irrelevant if you don't have the person in the first place. Okay? What is the best way to sell art? Have a potential buyer. Let's start there. Then we can talk about whether or not it's best to do in person on your website or via video chat. One of the things that I do is to put out a show, and it's a live show on Facebook and on YouTube. You can subscribe that way, or it's on a podcast too if you want to subscribe to that. Some of you maybe are aware of it already. I'm gonna get into that report like crazy, but I really enjoyed reading that today. I was gone all weekend long, and I just found it. I didn't even know it was coming out. But amazing. It doesn't matter who you are, what size you are, whether you've never sold anything or whether you're the biggest artist in the game right now. It's all a war for attention. It's all a war for attention. That's it. And so if you want to know what we do in one sentence, we teach artists and photographers capture attention, right? And that comes down to marketing. But anyway, I'm going to cover that report in a bunch. I figured I'd share it with you anyway. It's totally worth the scan, despite the fact it's a little high end in some of its data. But at this point, open it up to questions. A couple different ways to do that. If your camera's on, you can do the old school hand raise because I'll actually see it. But for everyone else, if you click on the participants bar down there at the bottom of your Zoom, there's a way where you can digitally raise your hands. So, excuse me, if you just click participants, then there's like a little raise your hand button, and I'll know you have a question that way, and I can get to it that way. Don't feel like you need to turn your camera on. If you don't want to turn your camera on, I hate being on video, so I totally understand that. But if you want to just do audio only, you can do audio only. If you want to throw your question into the chat, I will see those questions. I will answer those live as well. And then if you're watching on any of the socials on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, you can just hammer your question out there, and I will get to those questions as well. And that's sort of the ball game. But yeah, that report really has got me going. It's a time of profound change in the art and photography markets. Profound change, the most perhaps it's ever been, and yet No one has it figured out. There's no playbook. So much of what's going on right now is completely new. It's just a fascinating time to be there. Um, okay, Dan, they're saying, I mean, Zoom changes things all the time, so I don't. It looks like everyone's having like, how do you do the hand up thing? Um, Good call, Juan. I'm going to record to the cloud right now. So, okay, Carol, I saw that you need to raise your hand, and then Juan's telling me that Daniel's got his hand up. Carol, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to unmute you first, and then Daniel, I'll get you next. So go ahead, Carol Strickland. There's like a,
Okay.
yeah, gotcha.
My main question
Mm-hmm.
at this point of the game
Mm-hmm.
is I already have a very large website.
Mm-hmm.
A section of it is for art.
Okay.
I want it to be a very nice section. Is there a way to link my existing website to you guys' website and be able to switch the customer back if they want to go back and to my website and learn everything about Wonder Woman?
Yes, 100%. Very very easy to do. So it's just via the subdomain process. And so let's say your website was carolstrickland.com,
Carol A.
and
Strickland.com.
what you would what is it? What is it actually? Carol
CarolAStrickland.com.
A Strickland. So I was close. So what?
Visit today.
Yeah. What you could do is just do store dot carolastrickland.com, and then you have a link to your other site, and so it's just two sites right next to each other on the same URL. One goes to the other goes to the other. It's very simple to do that.
Great. Thanks.
What kind of stuff do you sell other than art on the other one? Just out of curiosity.
I have an extensive Wonder Woman site, and I have my books also there and
Mhm.
travel blogs.
Got it. Yep. Yep. So that's totally how you could do it. And we, your situation is like we have a lot of like commercial photographers that are selling fine art, and so they've got like a whole commercial portfolio, of they've done food or they've done editorial, and so they've got this like established business there that they don't want to mess up, but they also want to sell their fine art, so they'll put it on a subdomain in that instance and just bump it over. But very very common thing to do.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, hold on. I think it was Daniel's next. Daniel, I'm going to unmute you, and then Mark, I see your hands up, so don't worry, we'll get you. Let me just get you, Daniel. Okay, you've been unmuted, Daniel. Just I'll let you know.
Yeah, so
Yep,
the
gotcha.
question I had,
Mhm.
sorry, this is kind of weird with the headphones.
All good.
The question I had is you said it takes about 2 weeks to set up the actual site and to start selling.
Mhm.
Is that just a normal thing, or let's say I have just a body of work, I'm ready to just plug it in and play? Since like I've been doing this for 20 years and I've never sold directly to the public, I have two companies that are just built around my art, and this
Mhm.
is now I decided I'm going to sell some stuff directly to the public.
Yeah,
So if I have a mass of work that I'm just ready to plug and play,
yeah.
it takes 2 weeks. It's like a 2 week process.
No, so like it's this is like one of the things about stats that is so hard when you have like a diverse customer base and you try to get like some sort of baseline on like what the average is. Like, how do you drop the high and drop the people that are really quick? Like, you could have the whole thing up in 24 hours,
Okay, good. Because
straight up.
yeah, plus I have like I can link up like all the followers.
Hmm.
Probably have 100,000 followers on one of the websites, but it's under my company name,
Hmm.
and I could just link all that up to your site and just start
Yeah,
feeding people
yeah, yeah.
from all the
Oh yeah,
different sites.
yeah, yeah.
So it could take like a lot faster than 2 weeks. It's not like a 2 week.
No, yeah, yeah. You could have the whole thing up in 48 hours. I mean, usually that's like our average, but we get some people that have like or really build a bunch of websites already, and it's like it takes them literally 24 hours. I mean, you need the thumbnails, you need to set the prices, set your media types, throw the about me section, throw a logo in there, and you're done. Like,
Okay,
let's go.
great. And
Like,
it just starts with a phone call to the phone you have on the website.
yeah,
Is
the
Art
best
Store?
the best way to do it. It used to be phone call, but then we had an office in Austin, and like the receptionist and the whole dog and pony, and then COVID, and then there's no more office anymore. So now the phone's like it's just a voicemail. So the best thing to do is just request a demo. April will throw the link in here, or we email them to you all the time. It's everywhere. Question: So those other businesses, how do you navigate the whole social media landscape? Do you have different Facebook and Instagram for
Well,
each, or we?
I have one of them is a t-shirt printing company that I started in '99,
Mm-hmm.
and we sell directly to like big companies. So I do all the art. Let's say a car show or a football game or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I'll do the art and we sell the t-shirts.
Got it.
The other one is a clothing line that we started about 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And it's kind of, I mean, I guess it's pop art. It's not fine art.
Mhm.
It's just geared towards truckers. And we have stores in like 40 different truck stops across the United States.
Yeah. Got
It's
it.
just selling t-shirts and banners and stuff like that.
Yeah. Got it. So yeah, so there's this. Well, is the subject of your art then going to appear to those demos or no, or is your art more broad?
It's going to be similar, but it's going to be more like posters, but all automotive stuff, you know,
Yeah.
like, just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say it's high art. I think it's good. It's just
Yeah.
not, you know, but yeah, so it's just trying to, the people that just want to buy a poster or something, just go to a website and buy it in there instead of having, you know.
Yeah, the reason I ask is your situation is totally not normal, and just to let you know where I am in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, Facebook and Instagram ads are going to be a big deal for you. Okay, you have these other website assets that are producing like a ton of traffic. Okay, we need to get, you know, a Facebook page for your art business set up. We need to get that pixel on your old website. I want to get all your old email lists, you know, up into Facebook so you can start showing ads, and you're going to have a ton of momentum to come right out of the gates. But, you know, if you come on board, I'm going to have to put one of my guys to audit your thing and then give you some just strategy tips on how best to stitch those other businesses together. Because if there's synergy, you're in a much different place than most people, you know. Like,
yeah, and like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years, and this is the first time I've decided to sell directly as a one-on-one thing to a customer.
Yep.
Whereas before, I would get a call from an owner of a company and
Yep.
like, okay, set up my presence, do that kind of thing, and it's just like for extra income, you
Yeah.
know, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And like the other thing too is that, you know, again, it goes back to attention, which is the only thing that matters, right? But the someone else handling it for you is no different than the gallery model, even with your clothing, right? Like you need those distributions for your truck stop because those guys buy those things in the truck stops. They don't really shop online to find them, right?
well, they will go. We deal with just basically the owners of the truck stops and
Yep.
we set up a small store in it, but it's just t-shirts, right? So
Yeah.
it's, okay, so I make what 50 cents a shirt every time one sells, but we sell, you know, hundreds, thousands. But it's different with the art. I mean, it's just I don't have employees. This is like directly a side income for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Opposed to like having to split it through the whole, and it's two separate companies that I run through. So
yeah,
you know.
And you're not going to have to do anything aside from just a little marketing.
Right. I just want to plug it and play. I don't want to sell originals. I don't want to do any of that. You know, all originals, I just give them away. I never sell them anyways.
What? Don't stop doing that.
It's a thing. It's a thing I do. I'll always do that. I never sell originals, man.
Okay, I'm talking you out of that one because we need to have a serious come to Jesus on that one, Daniel. We need to have a serious come to Jesus.
A lot of money with prints.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. You sound fun, so you come aboard. We'll be hanging out.
I'll sign up online to get the thing.
Yeah. Please do. We can help you out significantly. That's going to be a no-brainer. But for sure on the doggone originals, or at least do some limited editions, because I don't want you. I get it that it might be your thing, and we'll hear more about it. But I don't want you walking away from the higher price points. I muted you already. It's a pain in the butt to undo it, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Okay, it's gonna go Mark, and then Lot, and then Mickey, and then I see the questions in the chat. Don't worry, I'll get to all of them. So go ahead, Mark. Mark O'Brien.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Perfect. I got a question. I've been a photographer for about 9 years now. I've been on Fine Art America for about 8 of those.
Okay.
And Instagram, I have about 1,500 followers. My Facebook business page, about 1,200.
Okay.
To me, that doesn't seem like a lot compared to what a lot of other people have. I always hear about people having, you know, like thousands upon thousands of followers. Is what I have enough of a foundation to take it to the next level, or is Art Storefronts more geared for people who have much more of a social media following?
You have no idea how satisfying this question is for me. So I'm gonna not play inside baseball while I play inside baseball. We have a gentleman that has 1 million followers on Instagram. Okay, 1 million followers on Instagram. We have a 26-year-old kid who is a photographer who has 2,200 followers on Instagram. The 26-year-old kid is absolutely destroying this other gentleman in terms of overall print sales. The point is that not all Instagram followers created are the same, right? And you know, I look at that. It's selfishly a tangent. Let me come back to it. One of the things that we do is, you know, there are so many artists and photographers that are not successful, and so few that are. That when you have really successful ones, you end up wanting to go and tell the story, right? And so we'll bring them in and tell case studies and like what they've done. I mean, they're customers, right? with this one particular kid, I don't want to do it because his following and his email list is so tiny. How the heck is he doing so much? And he's like multiple six figures a year. He's like killing it. But the larger point, you can't. In our mind is like in variations of it are like, what are the best selling sizes? If I just know what the best selling sizes are, then I can just make sure I have all those sizes and I will sell, right? Or what's the best selling media types? If I just know what the best selling media types are and I put those in my store, I'll sell. What's the magic number on Instagram or Facebook followers and email list? You can't compare your beginning to someone else's middle, your beginning to other person's beginning. It's all irrelevant because there's so many different factors that play into it, right? We help with every single solitary aspect of the problem. You can have nothing. Start from nothing. We'll teach you the techniques and tactics to do it. Where you are, does it help when you have a little momentum to start? You'd better believe it does. It makes things significantly easier to start. So that'll help give you some momentum and get things going. But there's no like, there's no like numbers that you can easily just one times the other and attempt to like evaluate the level of the business. It's sort of crazy how that works in art. Part of it's like, you know, sort of the arbitrary nature of it, right? Like, sorry, my kids having a tough day out there. You can probably hear that. So they're just homesick today, and there's nothing I can do except lock my door. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's just no easy way to compare it, right? Like, you know, the guy that has 1 million followers on Instagram, like I've worked with him for a year trying to figure out like what the heck are we going to do about this because this number is so flashy. But the reality is he's a guy he's a photographer, and everyone all of the follows him are photographers. So probably 850,000 of those followers, they're not fine art customers, right? So that's how this kid, and hold on, I'm gonna have to, you know, mention something about Vanessa. Can you? Thank you. It's COVID times. Life gets crazy sometimes. Sorry. So what you have is good to start. Let me ask, and you don't have to tell me exact numbers. How's Fine Art America work for you?
I didn't do much the first 5 years, and then I think in 2019 I netted around 3,500, and then last year 2020 I netted around 7. And I have about not much. I have about 100 people on my mailing list for a newsletter.
Yeah.
So I mean, it took a long time
for sure.
You know, it's with the way the Fine Art America works, you have a few sales and you start to move up in the search results. So I'm not sure if the sales that I'm getting is because of anything that I'm doing or if I'm just getting lucky. You know, it's been a long road, but I think at this point I would like to take it to the next level. I actually do know a couple of artists that came over from Fine Art America to Art Storefronts. I don't know if I can mention their names, but there's about 3 of them. And I actually spoke with Cynthia Decker, you know, for a while. And but yeah, I mean, it's been doing all right, but I just very slow growth. And
independent of the slow growth, and it's like, you know, a lot of times we get pigeonholed as like attacking the various other different services. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah, you don't really have any control. I mean, if I want
you don't set the rules.
With a great background, I can't do it. Or if they would decide to run a sale, which is actually what they're doing now. You know, they're always running sales. You can opt out of it, but then you won't show up in their search results if you do.
That's right.
So you know, it's kind of a mixed bag. You know?
Yeah, with any, like, you know, my official position on it, and I feel so strongly about this, is like, it is so hard to get any revenue source working. If you get a revenue source working, squeeze it as hard as you can and do not disrupt it to the best of your ability. The problem is that what people will do, what you probably likely did in this situation too, is you put all your eggs from a revenue standpoint. I'm not talking about the service component of your business, the fine art component of your business. You put all your eggs in that one basket in lieu of building attention that you own and where you control the rules, right? And really, your own website, your own email list is the only place where you control the rules, right? Even we're all renting on Facebook and on Instagram and Fine Art America and TikTok and Twitter and YouTube because they can change the rules at any point in time, right? One day you can be on page 1 and getting all the action. The next day you can rip the rug. You have nothing to say about it, you know? So you have to build for attention that you own. And it takes time, right? It takes time.
And you don't get your customer information either.
It's a disaster. It's a disaster.
Unless they happen to email you, you don't get their information at all.
It's a disaster. You know, I always cite, do I have it over here? I always cite Weiland's book. And depending on who you talk to, Weiland, the whale guy, is the best-selling artist in the United States right now. And, where's the book? See my aforementioned point about kids. I'll find it in a second, but it's like, don't be a starving artist. And he talks in detail about this notion of the collector. And for Weiland, a collector is anyone that buys 7 pieces or more over the course of a lifetime. And he's like, I've been in business so long that I have this robust collector list. And it's like, over the years, your prices just keep going up and the collectors just keep coming along for the ride, right? And they just buy again and again and again and again. And it so fundamentally changes how you market, okay, when you have this collector list, because they're your VIPs, right? I mean, one of my buddies on this call, Juan and I were on a call today, and we were having a discussion about a gal that is having a live art show, okay? She's moving studios and has all of this excess stuff that she does not want to pack up and move to the next one, right? And so what does she do? She's going to have a live art show where she goes and sells all that. But guess what she's going to do before she has the live art show? She is going to email the collectors directly, okay, the ones that she has established as her collectors, and say, you guys get first look at this, okay? And anyone that wants anything, you just let me know. It's yours. I'm going to run the show to everyone else on Thursday, right? So what she's doing there is catering to those collectors, making them feel special. Probably half the work will get sold because the subtle psychology of reciprocation. It's like, ooh, I get first look at this before anyone else. Like, that's really awesome. And it ends up becoming a fundamental aspect of everything that you do. Every single solitary marketing initiative you have for the rest of your life, and you've already been doing this for 7-9 years, contemplate the next 30, right? The next 30, every time that you have a show or every time that you have a new series, who's going to see it before everyone else? The collectors. Why? Because they've already bought stuff. They'll buy anything from you. Guess what? When you don't have that information, that is a tough way to run this business. That is a tough way to run this business. And you have to put yourself in a position where you're getting it. And look, you're at Fine Art America. It's no different for everyone else. It's at a retail art gallery, right? They don't have any idea who their collectors are either. That's like, there's a reason they don't give you that information. It's the most important. It's the most important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you. That definitely helps.
Yes. We'd love
I have plenty more questions, but I don't want to take up anybody's time.
No, it's all good. If you've got one more important one, ask it. But just out of curiosity, what is it? So I made an assumption. I shouldn't do that. But is there a service-based component to your photography business, or do you just do fine art?
I just do wildlife and landscape, Milky Way, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'll make it quick. Many years ago when I started, I looked for a website. My name is Mark O'Byrne. I could not, for my website, my name was already taken.
Yeah.
So I used my middle name. I have 2 middle names. Don't ask me why.
I do too, by the way. Annoying. Thanks, Dad.
I use the name markandrewthomas.com. Okay, that's available. That's where I'm going, which it just links to my fine art anyway. But it seems to be causing a lot of confusion on my social media. Like I had a woman going to buy, she goes, wait a minute, I went, who's this Mark Andrew Thomas guy? And I had to constantly explain to people. So I got a domain name that sounds really cool. It's visualvoyages.com. I've always heard that it's better to use an artist name, but that would also eliminate the confusion. I could actually use my own name, but then I'm afraid that might sabotage whatever following I've gained through using this other name, which I now regret doing, but I'm not sure how to approach that either in terms of what brand I should use, or if I should even rebrand at all at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those funny things where you start out with the best intentions, thinking that the brand is going to be a name or it's going to be your name, and what's it going to look like. The reality is that you sort of only get some input on what the brand ends up being, right? Like sometimes you just get pigeonholed on it, but I wouldn't worry about it in today's day and age. It's pretty easy to fix all of these things. No one's coming to what you have to ask yourself is the name of the website where people are going to come and buy my art? I can tell you conclusively, absolutely not. So what the hell are you stressing about it for?
All right.
Zero need.
That takes care of that.
Yeah, zero need.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we'll be able to knock a whole bunch of those off your list. And by the way, sometimes I feel like I sound like a pompous windbag giving you this advice. Do you know how many of these mistakes I've made? All of them, my entire career, right? All of them. The sheer amount of time I've worried about the branding instead of worrying about the only thing that does matter, which is getting sales. I can't even begin to tell you, right? A lot of times you don't know what you don't know until you get started and just get working on the marketing in earnest. So, okay, Lot's up next, then Mickey, then I will get into the chat. So go ahead, Lot. You're up next. I'll let you know when you get gotcha.
Wonderful. So I'm based in Denmark, and I've a while ago I requested a demo and I got some info, and I think back then it was pretty new.
Yes.
Moving into Europe and stuff. Anyway, I'm using Shopify right now, and I'm pretty happy about it. But I am super keen to be a part of the marketing part that you've got going on, and the community that I feel like you have. But without getting the store, because like now I finally, you know, like did the whole thing with my store, and I just
Yeah.
want this
Where
community
are
platform.
you selling the majority of your work in Europe? Or are you selling some into the US now? Talk to me about that.
Actually, Denmark and some other countries here in Europe.
So mostly Europe, but not quite into the US yet.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, you could totally do it for just the marketing for the time being. And it's like, you know, I get the website part of it so dead to rights, right? Like the website's like moving, right? Like once you do it once, you don't ever want to do it again. You don't ever want to move again. Like I don't want to even contemplate moving ever
Exactly.
again. Like no, no. And we love Shopify. It's not a knock on Shopify. What you'll end up doing if you end up signing up is, yes, the marketing will help you significantly. Yes, the community will be awesome for you. No, it doesn't matter. We were sort of reluctant to take people from Europe on and people in different time zones because if we can't offer amazing support, we're in trouble, right? And so the time zone thing would be different. Now that COVID's hit, I mean, we literally have 25 employees in Europe, 5 in Africa, 5 in Asia spread around. There's like 6 different countries represented in just staff on this call right now. So we have the ability to support you is what I'm saying from a tech standpoint. I don't know why I went up, but that's how things have changed. But what you'll end up doing is you'll come on, you'll get the marketing advice, a new shiny feature. You'll be like, ooh, I like that new shiny feature, but I still like my Shopify site. And then like 6 months will go by and there'll be like a case study on the new shiny feature. And you'll be like, oh God, I want it. And then you'll finally just switch over. It'll be annoying. It'll be really annoying when it happens, but that's what will end up happening. We do have some things, you know, we have some things that we've custom wrote into our software. And again, not a knock on Shopify. I love Shopify, right? Phenomenal country. Biggest company in all the entire country of Canada, by the way, in terms of market cap, which is amazing. But they specialize in everything, right? And we just specialize in art, so we can do some things that are like a little unique and different. The analogy I always give is we have, or not analogy, story, we have a proprietary cookie. It's a line of code that tracks what you do. The easiest way to think about it is Lot's art business is an Apple store, right? Well, we have this little code that's like a video camera in the corner of the Apple store, right? And so if I walk into Lot's store, which is really the Apple store, I look at the iPhone, I look at the iPad, I look at the MacBook Pro, then I buy the iPhone and I leave, our system will instantaneously pop up a little box where we already wrote the email for you that says, hey, Patrick, it's Lot. Thank you so much for buying that iPhone. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to ship it to you. I couldn't help but notice that while you were in the store, you were also looking at the MacBook Air and you were also looking at the iPad Pro. I just want to let you know that for first-time buyers, we offer a special discount on items of 3 or more. So if that's something you'd like to talk about, I'd love to have that conversation with you. Otherwise, thank you so much for your business, and I look forward to talking to you in the future. And you can either edit it or click send, right? Now, how often does that happen in your business? I don't know, but there's a whole bunch of features like that that are pretty sneaky for the art selling. Shopify has some of them, but yeah. But yes, you can. Sorry, that was like a really long-winded answer.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And you would like to sell into the US, you just need to start doing some marketing. Right?
Come again?
You would like to sell into the US, you need to do some work on marketing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, that I could maybe have another, or like a US store or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll try and figure it out.
Yes. It's not so tough actually. It's like, you know, especially when you just split it down the middle. Like if you signed up with us, you would route all of your orders. Well, let's not think about like the logistical, how to do it with the software, but you would just route all your North American orders through Art Storefronts. You would self-fulfill and take care of all your European orders, just like you're doing now anyway. And then, you know, you would open up that other front to the business, but it's a huge market, right? Like going back to that report, one of those things in the report were, you know, the 3 biggest countries in terms of international art sales: United States, UK, China. Now that's changed, right? So you think about it as a global thing. And again, you know, that report talks about the hoitiest of art, right? Like the highest net worth collectors and, you know, the very small group of artists that sell that way. But downstream, it's also true, right? Like, you know, if you want to have a truly global art business, you need a presence in China, presence in the United States, present in UK, right? Which takes care of Europe for you. So you've got Europe sorted. You know, work on the other 2. But yes, we can help you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. I can see lots like, I speak English, but Patrick mumbles and he talks fast. So I'm getting about every 3rd word or so. Yeah, sorry about that a lot. I've been hearing that since I was kindergarten, and there's no sense in changing it now, so I'm just rolling with it. Okay, Mickey, go ahead. You're up. Oh,
Can
yep,
you hear me?
yep, I gotcha.
Okay. I'm brand new to the art world,
Okay,
right? I've been painting maybe 5 months,
okay.
and send the artwork out to different family members and friends and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. And I've got one of the friends who is a broker and sent a lot of my artwork to collectors and
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah. And they're very interested in the artwork.
Okay.
But I'm just in terms of I want to have control over stuff that I do
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know if he does whatever he does because it was Walmart called him and said they're interested in some collectors. But to me, that makes me no longer in control, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, what do you do really to get started initially to, you know, get recognition in terms of people wanting to buy your art, like collectors.
Mm-hmm.
I joined this program called Affluent Artists, and they tell you what to say to collectors, but how do you find these collectors so that you are, marketing your stuff to collectors? What are you actually doing?
Mm-hmm.
If you're building a website, and not that I have even thought about the website yet, but what do you do to really get actually started and not be confused as to I'm doing this first, or I'm doing that first, or I want to,
Mm-hmm.
I want to have merchandise later. It's just like a bundle of confusion in terms of when, because so you're constantly painting. I have other people, they've been painting 9 years and 20 years. So I definitely don't have that kind of catalog,
Mm-hmm.
but I have about, 40 pieces now. And I just want to know, how do you really get started so that you're comfortable, with marketing and speaking to the collectors and just the whole, creating your logo, and it's just crazy.
Yes, it is. It is. And there's so many fun things for me to tear out of this one. I could answer it with the cheeky one word. You know how you get to Carnegie Hall, Mickey?
Well, you just get on the bus and go.
Practice. That's like the old
Right.
line. Practice.
How do you physically
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that's number one. Number two, just for the sake of argument, I don't know where you live, but if Walmart is knocking on the door and wants to put in a big order, I will drive to your house right now, pick you up, and let's go negotiate that deal, because Walmart's checks don't bounce. All right, that would be a big order. We would take that order, Mickey. You would be inclined to want to take that order. Look, it's like anything else. There's any big task is broken down into commensurate steps. You have one short-term problem and nothing else, which is you're just getting started. Now, you could have stick figures on paper and your friends and family are just telling you they love it because they'll do anything for you, or you could be the most talented artist the world's ever seen and be incredible. The whole point of that is you don't know what you don't know early on, and what you need to find out is, do people not named, mother, brother, father, sister, family, friends, who would buy anything from you, would do anything from you, will strangers pull that cash out of their wallet and purchase Mickey's pieces, right? And until you attempt to sell the work, you don't have the validation to know whether you need a logo, or whether you need a website, or whether you need to know how to talk to collectors, right? Like, stated another way, if you're a cook and I'm a cook and both of us want to have a restaurant, I could worry about my business plan, or I could worry about what building I'm going to have my restaurant in, and I could start worried about the menus and the silverware and the maitre d' and how much I'm going to charge for things. Or I could set a stand-up in an office building and see if I can't sell a couple $100 worth of food a day. Because if I can't sell a couple $100 worth of food a day, that restaurant's going to fail even if I do get it open, right? So early on, the only problem you have is figuring out whether or not people want to buy it. And this was really easy to do in a pre-pandemic world, because I would say there's got to be a local farmer's market or an art show or an art fair somewhere where you can set up a table, you can put all of your pieces, whatever you got, doesn't matter, right? Put them all up on the table, start having some conversations and see if people will buy them. If people will buy them, well, guess what, Mickey? I don't care how many years you've been painting, you got a business, my dear, right? You got a business. If they don't, then you got to practice your art more, right? And none of that other stuff, logo, this, that, or the other matters, right? Like, you have to hone your craft still. But it's one of those things that you don't know until you attempt to sell them, right? So again, pre-COVID, it was a farmer's market, and things are starting to loosen up now. So if there's an easy way or somewhere you can go, to set up a table, put all your work on top of it, your originals, set some prices, and just be like, try to sell it, then you know. And if you sell it, then you're like, okay, I've got a product the market wants. Now I don't have an art problem, I have a marketing problem. And that's where the logo and the website and the social media marketing, talking to collectors, all that stuff will start to come in. But it's a cart before the horse situation for sure.
Okay, so now that COVID is here and we don't know when things are really going to open up, what do you suggest someone, in my situation,
So
what do you suggest that I
I've
do?
got
Should I have a virtual show or
I've got like a playbook for this that I've got set up. I'm going to show it in real time just because I do this a bit. But hold on, I got to grab my little stack here. One second.
Okay.
This is your cell phone. You're going to take whatever social network you have the most followers on, or if you don't have a social network with any followers on, just the video concept, and you're going to record yourself, and you're going to say something along these lines. Hey guys, it's me, Mickey. I've finally just started to launch my art career. I've got 6 pieces for sale. You're going to hold them up. You're going to talk about them. You're going to talk about the fact that they're ready to hang, or if they need a frame, what your inspiration was, and you're going to quote a price. And you're going to move to the next one, and you're going to talk about the inspiration and how you took the photo, the fact that it's ready to hang, normally sells for such and such, and then quote the price to see if you can take the sale. Again, you go through them and you just hold it just like this. You talk about the work and you see if you can get any authors and if you can sell them, right? It's quite literally that simple. There was some dust coming off that one. Now, if you have a social following at all, it's really easy to turn on, Instagram Live or Facebook Live because it's free and you can just do it. I've got a link that I'm going to put into the show notes in April. I'll get it for you in just a second, where we talk a little bit more about this in detail, but we've actually had people, that have come onto these calls, sort of followed this exact playbook. And hold on, again, I'm finding it and I'll put it in the chat here. Hold on. And it's totally worked, and they've sold a bunch of pieces and they end up signing up later. We have some people that, you have to look at what individual circumstances you have available in your own life and sort of make it work for you. And like one of the examples I give of this is that I have my weekday coffee shop and I have my weekend coffee shop, okay? Because my kids like these cinnamon rolls, and so it's my thing. I wake up, I ride my bicycle down to this other one. Every single solitary day on this main thoroughfare, there's an artist that has a house on the main thoroughfare. And what does he do? Opens up his garage. He has like 15 easels, and he puts them all over the driveway, right? He puts them all over the driveway, and all of these people will come by and see him. And I see people in there having conversations with him all the time. Now, that guy didn't cost him anything. He just, aside from his home, right? Because he's on the right part of the street. Like, some people go to a big church, right? And they can set up a show like that in the church parking lot. Like, you have to kind of sort of look at what individual unique thing that you have available to you, but you got to get the art in front of somebody. That's the game.
Okay.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, that was pretty helpful. I mean, I kind of that was the thought process in terms of stuff, doing. But you're just, when you take a lot of these courses, there's so many steps and so many things, and it's just so many things bombarded at you and thrown at you.
For sure.
You don't really,
for sure. You don't need
really
any of them.
What to really do to get started. You want to market, but how's everybody marketing? How are people, talking to folks and getting their first sale and blah, 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 blah. You see it, you hear it, but you don't really know the backstory of what they really did, to get themselves really going. Is it, an art collector bought it because the collector is my mom or the collector is my uncle.
Yeah.
So they purchase it, as opposed to, so I got some strangers I don't even know, this is what I did. And so that was kind of the thought process. But I said, let me come on and find out, what was your strategy? What was your thought process? What direction are you telling people who are just getting started?
Yes, and that's 100% the direction. And like, you have to understand the danger of when you don't do it well. So what a lot of people will do in their mind, and this is art, yes, this is business, is you always think in your head that you're a little bit further down the line than you are, right? But you need some outside advisors to like give you the reality check. Like, what did I say? You can't sell the stuff to mom, dad, friend, brother, and sister because they'll do anything for you, and that's totally true. Right? They will. But at the same time, how it actually happens, if you sell to mom, dad, brother, sister, friend, they put it up in their wall, their restaurant, their office, and one of the random people that they know is like, where did you get that? I want one. Right? Or they're making an offer and they're buying it. Well, guess what? That's how you start with mom, dad's friend, because when you're starting, it's hard, right? So the concentric circles go out. But the important thing is, you don't go open the restaurant until people are begging you for your food, right? Like, when are you going to cook again? When do you cook again? And that restaurant analogy is profound, because the last thing, how many restaurants fail? They didn't figure out if anyone wanted the food, right? Like ultimately, no one cares. If the food is really good, that restaurant's going to be jumping, right? So it's as quick. It's liberating in a lot of ways because it's the only thing you have to worry about right now. You don't have to worry about any of the rest of that stuff. Period. End of sentence. Just figure out if you can get some random people to buy the work. If you can, one, it's awesome because it's like totally energy up, right? Like you feel like you just won something when you get those early sales. You're fired up about it. But then two, you know you're on the right track.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
that answered a lot of my stuff and kind of gave me a little. My son's been telling me, kind of the same exact thing, just to get started, but you're scared to death because, and people are always asking me, well, when are you going to do a show? When are you going to do a show? When are you going to do a show? And I want to do one, but you're just trying to figure out, all the, logistics. Should I do it here? Should I rent a loft? Should I do blah, blah, blah,
no,
blah, blah,
you should
blah?
do it tomorrow.
And
you should do it tomorrow.
Just go.
Yeah, just do it tomorrow. No,
Okay.
Just do it tomorrow. Just feel like everybody just say, look, I know all of you guys have been doing these Zoom calls. I know all your backgrounds are ugly. I'm having a Zoom background sale this weekend only. Come by my house. All the works are going to be on the driveway. No one wants to look at that ugly wall on your Zoom call, right? So dial this thing up. I'm going to give you a special discount, all originals. Boom. Text everyone you know. Done this weekend. Literally this weekend. I want to announce it today. Have it on Saturday.
Okie dokie.
Done. Nothing else.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
Now you got to do it, Nikki.
Thanks a lot.
I want an email. I want an email with a photo of the driveway Zoom sale. We have this mantra which is like just ship it, just ship it, just ship it. And we constantly say it because, everybody talks about what they're going to do in their next steps. And I'm not picking on you, Mickey. Everyone does this. Everyone talks about what they're going to do and what their next steps are. And what ends up happening? The days turn into weeks, turn into months. Still talking about that thing, huh? Still talking about that thing. How's that progress coming? How's that progress coming? Right? Like, no, get it in the water immediately. Fail. It doesn't matter. Like if no one sees it and no one buys it, no one saw that they didn't see it or didn't buy it. No one cares, right? Like, so get it in the water and give it a shot, right? Like, stop talking about it. You got to do it. So we really bang the drum on that. And then once you get that going, it's pretty powerful because then everyone's like racing everyone to just get it out there, and somebody fails miserably and you all have a chuckle and you just do it again the next day because that's how you learn. That's the best way to learn. So, okay. What other questions? Okay, Ariel, you're asking the marketing question. You're asking the crystal ball marketing question. Ariel, where are you? I'm going to find you. Okay. Ariel, I'm going to mute you, all right? You'll need to hit the mic.
Sure.
Yes. So here's the secret. It's less to do about the hours, right? Like, this was the same variation. I can't remember the guy's name earlier. Was it Daniel? That Daniel asked me earlier, right? Like, and how much time? Like, there's no baseline that gets you there. It's not a reverse engineerable equation. Like, I can't tell you it's going to take you 10 hours of marketing a week and you're going to have a big business. It might take you 30 minutes for you because that's the nature of your business, right? So there's no easy way. There's no golden rule. There's no, if this worked for them, it's going to work for me. Everyone is just so completely different. The good news is, what I can tell you is, what matters less is the number of hours a week, and what matters more is the fact that you give me 52 weeks a year. No one ever wants to talk about the consistency. Every artist, every photographer does zero marketing for the most part. Then they get all fired up, kind of like New Year's resolution time, when you're going to lose the weight, or New Year's resolution time when you're going to quit the thing. And what ends up happening? 2 months later, you're right back to where you started. You gave up on the New Year's resolution. You're not doing that anymore. You're not eating plant-based or working out or whatever the heck it is. So, one of the biggest things that we do as a company is poke and prod and give you the perspective, the understanding that it's like, it's less about how many hours a week, and it's more about 52 weeks a year of it. You have to be consistent, and you can never stop, right? You can never stop. I mean, it is a war every week. You only have 2 hours to give me every week, April? Fine. Give me those 2 hours a week, and we'll reevaluate the business in 2 years, right? At that point in time, you're going to probably have some momentum. At that point in time, you're going to be like, I'm willing to throw some more time at this, right? So that's how it works. Ariel's like, I don't know what to make of this.
No, I mean, consistency to me is the key, but
Yeah.
You can end up spending, like, say you're using Instagram as your platform for, I don't know, putting yourself out there, which, attaches to Facebook, etc. But, and you can spend hours on those platforms and not really go anywhere. So
Yeah, that's by
it has to be
design.
a point where your marketing is more targeted or more
Yes. 100%.
productive.
We teach you productive is the right way to say it, right? Like, you know, there's two sides of that coin. One, the social media companies design their app so that you are just in it all day and you don't accomplish a damn thing, right? That's by design because that's their business model and all the addictive triggers that they mix into it and everything else. But the important thing is, one, you weren't using Instagram to the best of its ability. We teach you how to do. That's what we're good at. And two, it's how you ignore everything else. It's like a 3-point. One, getting the most ROI, return on investment, time, talent, treasure, all the rest. Two, what you focus on and when, right? And then three, doing it consistently. It's the ball game. But that's what we teach all year long. And it won't be just Instagram. And if it is just Instagram, we'll teach you how to use Instagram, how to get the most out of it, and then how to avoid it like the plague the rest of the time so it doesn't take all that time from you.
Now, funny question on top of that is something I find rather annoying as a business person is the email lists that, you know, you get 16 emails from the same person a day.
Oh, we are the
companies.
worst, by the way, aren't we? We are how much?
You are.
Terrible.
You actually, that's one of the reasons I'm like, if this is your marketing strategy, I'm not sure I want to be a part of that. But so is there a point where that doesn't need to be you point of obnoxious?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. You adjust that to taste. I mean, ideally we want you at like once a week on an email, but it takes a little while to build up the muscles and to feel good about doing that. For us, we're sort of in a different business. And by the way, trust me, I see the volume of email we send. I'm embarrassed by the volume of email we send, but I'm also a pragmatist. The way that marketing works, and after you've done it for any period of time, is we human beings, and I use the fishing analogy for this. I apologize. I like fishing. We as human beings, as creators, we think that 100% of the people see 100% of our marketing messages when we create them. It's a very difficult thing to break out of. The analogy I use is fishing, right? Like you drive your fishing boat out to the middle of the ocean, okay? Ocean's a big place or a big lake, whatever you want. And when we throw our line into the water, which we think is our marketing message, we think all the fish are right under the boat, right? When nothing could be further than the truth. Some of them are 3,000 feet down at the bottom. Some are completely the other side of the lake or the ocean, right? And so when you realize that as a marketer and as a practitioner, it's got nothing to do with throwing the line in the water and then not going back out fishing for 2 months. No, it's how many times you have the line in the water, because you never know when the fish are going to come to the surface because there's so many other things going on. They're watching cat videos on Instagram. They've got an issue with their kids that are homesick, all of these myriads of things. So for us, yes, you sort of loosely see the, oh my gosh, look at how much email these guys are sending me. It's terrible. But it's less about that and more about the fish at the sea. So when the fish are at the surface, do you have something in the water, right? So that's sort of our rationale for why we do it. It works for us as a business. Yes, I'm embarrassed by it, but it's effective. It does not need to be that way for art. Art is a little bit of a different sale. I don't know a single solitaire customer we have that emails as much as we do. Not even close. Not even by a factor of 10. So you of course are going to be you, right? Which is everything that your personality dictates. Now, I will get you emailing a little bit more than you are now, but let's be honest, I don't even need to talk to you. I know you're not emailing enough because no one does, right? Like, what are you sending an email? Once a month? Once a quarter? Once every 6 months, right? Almost no one does it even once a week, but we teach you how to do it. You can adjust things for taste. You do not have to be spammy at all in the slightest. Don't worry.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, John Thomas, you're up next.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, so I was at a brick and mortar
Mhm.
for about 5 years.
Okay.
In a district that was up and coming. Over those 5 years.
Wait, were you the gallery owner or were you just the artist?
I was, well, I guess both.
Got it.
It was actually a family type deal, and I was just in the community. So, I was the one that took the head start and said, hey, I'll do the brick and mortar. You guys make art and bring it. We'll do events, so on and so forth.
Okay.
So I've sold moderate amount of work and others works. So I'm comfortable in that manner. The thing that I'm also seeing now, the brick and mortar got way too gentrified.
Mm-hmm.
It got younger.
Mm-hmm.
The clients weren't coming around that area anymore because it became not a food district, not an art district.
Yep.
So I had to get out of that business. And then I went just basically, I also run a faux finishing business, which is the basis of my art, utilizing their product line in order to create my art.
Okay.
So now I've been following you guys probably for about 5 years, that 5 years prior to that. And a lot of the people that I've worked with, we're all seeing the same trend, is everything going into online.
Yeah.
I mean, even is into the crypto coins and NFTs and all this other stuff. So my, I guess, biggest question is, I've never made a print or got a good photography or any of that stuff. Is there obviously a way to guide? Do you guys guide towards that direction as well?
Got you covered on that one all day long. Although you should, I'm surprised. Well, I guess everything you just sold in the art gallery were originals. Just before I get into the, let me fix your problem. Did you maintain the customer database from the store when you had it?
No, like you stated earlier, and I'm one of the guys that death, taxes, and websites.
Yeah.
I don't like any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I want it to be filed for me. I want to do the work. And especially for me being the gallery owner, as you said, stated, you're the best way to sell the art.
Yeah.
They want you as the salesman.
Yes.
They want to know your story. They want to know your background. They want to know why you're even into it.
Yes.
And sadly, my mother also freelance art. I mean, most of my family's freelance artists. So I've been around it all my life. My mother doesn't have focus on something like this. This is why I'm trying to take on the this kind of platform, because she's more like a butterfly, and I need to have something firm on the ground.
Yeah, gotcha.
She just gets distracted very easily. And also, she doesn't have confidence in herself of being able to achieve these types of things. And I do have that confidence. And she sold well. My brother sold well. And also, on your storefront, I'm assuming there's a capability of being more of a gallery than just a personal artist.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, all day long.
Okay, because I have talked to multiple of your team, multiple people on your team, and I'm just trying to settle in on my final. I'm doing my due diligence.
Of course.
At this point, it's near time to pull the trigger because, like I said, we're shifting. Even when COVID passes, I still want to run my business that I have as a faux finish company, but also be able to reap in the benefits of the art that I create while I'm able to not have to be on a job site.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
When you're a freelance artist, you work all the time. There is no stop. You wear all the hats.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to get, and the funny thing is, once you say, I've looked at an art storefront, then you start getting all these other ads, as you say, on Facebook. They're starting to fish. They'll show an ad from, somebody else. Say you're looking for furniture, Wayfair will come up.
Yep.
And I was talking about a toothbrush for my dog the other day. A toothbrush ad came up for dogs. It's ridiculous, and I'm not very savvy with social media other than art. I don't like the interaction with people on it. I just want business.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I have a personal page, but you only see 5 people regardless, even if you have 1,000 some odd friends.
Yes.
So, and in this also, I'm assuming you come along with, you give your consumer our own database to keep ahead of the game.
Oh, 100%. You own that. To be honest with you, that was why I asked you about the old gallery, because you're one of the rare situations where you're the gallery owner, and one of the sort of like dirty little secrets about Facebook is these tyrants. I shouldn't say that because I'm streaming on them. These lovely people have so much information on all of us that, let's say in your gallery you ran that thing for 10 years and you were old school, Rolodex special, right?
Yeah.
You can take the collector first name, last name, zip code, state, upload it, and a lot of times you get a 50% match rate, meaning they will find 50% of those people on Facebook, and the older types that's the network that they're on a little bit more so than Instagram, right? And then you'd be able to show them ads, and they would already have the name ID and recognition. So that's sort of where my mind went on that. But yes, we would teach you absolutely all of it. I think you have some added benefit in the fact that you have an artist family. You have an added benefit in the sense that, you know, your faux finishes, having some knowledge of that, like obviously everyone that's good at that is a damn artist to begin with, right? And so now you got a bunch of people that know, like, and trust your craftsmanship, but probably have no idea that you're selling fine art. So you have some levers there that I like, that I think you could potentially pull. So yes, and what you'll end up doing too is if you end up signing up, you know, there are some aspects of the marketing that we teach that is fundamental to selling art and photography, yes. But is marketing at its core fundamentally about getting attention? Yes. So after we teach you some of the tricks of the trade of the digital landscape in which we're living in right now, you're going to apply them directly to getting customers for your photo fitness business too. So that's going to be
yeah.
an
See,
added.
that's what I was kind of trying to see.
100%, 100% you will. 100% you will.
You can tie two websites together basically, so I can send people to that faux finish if they like that.
You better believe it. Again, you know, everyone gets so stressed out about that, and it's like I go back to my earlier point, which is, you know, and again, this guy was like a social scientist in the 79 to like 82 or something. He said this, but like when you live in an age of information abundance, attention is the scarce resource, and it's just so true, right? So, you know, people always ask me a variation of your question, and it sort of includes something you said too, like, well, I don't want my art brand to contradict with my faux finished brand. And it's like, no, stop it. If attention is the most difficult thing to get, the last thing I want you to do is take this list of people that know, like, and trust you and not show the art to them. You are the brand as much as whatever the heck you're selling is, right? So if people have a good opinion of John Thomas Coburn, and he's been an upstanding member of the artist community in your town for a long time, yes, I want all of that under one roof. Absolutely I do, right? And the one business will help the other grow. So yes, 100% to that.
All right, thanks a lot. Yeah, I've talked to you guys prior, and like I said, my intentions are pretty close to getting on board. I keep missing phone calls and being in other meetings at the times, and that number, like you said, from I think
I'll find out whoever your guy is, and we'll get a. April, will you just email John? They have a direct line too. I'll send you whoever the direct line is. But I love that. 5 years, right? Is Ariel still on this call? 5 years he was making his mind up, right? If I didn't have the webinar running today, when he was at the surface, I never would have got anywhere, right? Which is why we email so much. But it's the nature of marketing. But yes, we'll have him reach out to you, John. Don't worry. I saw you muted already. It's all good. We'll have your person reach out, and we'll find out directly. Good session today. A lot of fun today, actually. Some really interesting questions. Okay, did I get all of them? Was there anyone in the chat that I missed? I'm just scrolling up to find out. Yeah, Juan, you sent me the one about no website, no followers. How do we get started? I think I covered most of that. You know, early on, just sort of sucks. I think it was John Folt saying it. Yeah, early on, John, it sucks. But it's, you know, it's a chicken and the egg problem, right? Like, which came first, like the chicken or the egg? Like, you're going to have to grow that business one way or the other. So that means marketing early on. You're up top there with your camera on, John. So I'm unmuting if you want to ask a follow-up. But, you know, you have to get that business going, and you have to get it started, right? So, you know, we have some interesting ways, some hacky ways to go about that, what to do and when, and we'll get you there, right? Like, you know, you gotta just start grinding early on.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. What's the nature of the work? Is it what you have behind you, or is that just a background?
It's photography.
Yeah, yeah.
It's photography. I have in an earlier time I used to do local shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd sell, you know, $1,000 or so a year is worth of stuff, doing 3 or 4 shows a year.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always been the dream to have a business. Obviously, then I moved, so I'm in a different location now.
Mm-hmm.
Not, you know, local shows are not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
So need to get started somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I feel like we're coming out of the COVID scenario, right? At least to a certain extent, things, I'm sure that's probably the same where you guys are. It sort of feels like it's getting back to normal. But the reality is like, where do you go, right? Like most people are in the show and fair situation that you're in, right? Like the only way the show and the fair model worked is if they're at 100% attendance, right? It's hard, like even at 100% attendance, it's hit or miss whether you make any money, right? So to contemplate those things happening where the fees are not likely going down and you're at like 20 or 30 or 40% attendance, that's even if you can get one. So that business model just doesn't make sense for however long until it takes to go back. Then you look at the galleries. Well, guess what? Maybe some galleries survived wave 1 of COVID, but wave 2, not so many are going to survive, right? The ones that do are going to have the pick of the litter and whatever artist they want. And even when they get to that level, they're going to be like, we were 50-50. Sorry, there's so much competition. All of our competitors out of business. We're going 70-30, right? So, despite the fact things are going back to normal, for me, it just underscores I don't even see any other alternative aside from doing the marketing and having the digital presence to even be able to sell art. So once you come to terms with that, it's like, yeah, it sucks. I don't want to build a website. Yeah, I don't want to go into things and learn all this new tech. I like the old ones, but it's just, I just don't know what the alternative is, right? Like, especially in the short term. And, God forbid anything like that was ever to happen again. But it's all just a version. And when I say it's all, I mean, not having your own website, not having your own email list, not doing some sort of marketing for yourself. Everything else is just playing in a venue where you don't control the rules. COVID underscores this for everyone. If you didn't have those things, attention you owned, and COVID hit, you were dead in the water overnight, and there's not a doggone thing you can do about it. And that's terrifying. That's right. It's terrifying. So you gotta have some of your own eggs in some of your own basket. You got to get started. But John, in this case, it's like you're like, I've been an artist my entire life. I've sold well. I've had a great career. I'm like coming up close on retirement, and some snot-nosed punk is telling me I'm going to have to grind it out for a couple of years to build a following. And yes, sadly, John, the internet does not care about that incredible career or how long you've been doing it. Like attention is the currency, right? Like, so
yeah,
it's easier said than done. And as I'm making notes to make sure, like, okay, 20 years from now, I'm not going to be in some situation where I'm like in a seminar and some kid is like, you get out there and pound that pavement, right? Like you got to get it done. Like what? But it's worth it. It's worth it because you can literally sell art. Art's like a sort of a different one. Like art has sold forever and ever and ever. It will continue to sell forever and ever and ever. And it's something you can sell to the very end of your life. And if it's timeless work, it's a business that you can pass on. So the point is that there's more of an incentive to do the grind, I think, than a lot of other businesses, right? Like, you have a restaurant, there's no guarantee that restaurant's going to be around in 20 years. Most of them don't even make it 5, right? So, you're a little bit less incentivized to grind on that one. But okay. I feel like I'm worn out after that. It was a great session, though. I appreciate it. We're going to email you all the links. I totally think you guys should read that report. It's awesome. I do believe we have a sale going on right now till the end of the month. So the next 8 days. So look, if you're not interested in getting a demo and you're just in the research phase, don't worry about it. But if you're like on the fence in any capacity whatsoever, you request a demo. There's links everywhere, all over our everything. The outreach team will reach out to you. It's like a 10-minute exploratory call. You can at least hear all the numbers, figure out what the sale is, everything else. But yeah, great session today. I really appreciate you guys. And I hope everyone has a wonderful week. And if you're not doing anything this weekend, Mickey's having a Zoom sale, okay? And we will show up at Mickey's driveway. The Zoom sale will be on, and we're gonna see what Mickey sold. So, thanks, guys. See you guys all later.